with video number 2 of the April marathon that I'm putting myself through, and I've already hit a new record by just getting the second video set up in a row. Now, this one I wanted to talk about is just tangentially related to yesterday's video regarding how fewer men in the current generation, 18 to 30, are saying that they've been sexually active in the last year. I think one of the problems that's come up is more and more men are getting a little bit wary and hesitant about entering into any sort of romantic relationship for a number of reasons. The fact that no one really seems to know where the line is in the sand of appropriate versus inappropriate behavior, I think plays a big role and will be the topic of a video later this week. But what I wanted to start with right now is addressing one problem that I think can be a pretty big one, and that's that I think people rush into serious monogamous relationships. The reality is that, in my opinion, I should say instead of reality, that these are things that should take time and develop over months and maybe even a year or two, to the point where you go, okay, I've been around this person long enough and I understand how they behave. I know their likes and dislikes and whatever chemistry we may have. So now I'm ready to take something more seriously. It's just not like that. Some people claim that the problem is that, there's too much casual sex and hookup culture and apps. But the data that we get from these services and from individuals in large enough samples of individuals shows that there isn't a large chunk of the culture in the Western world engaging in that behavior. Most people aren't interested in that. Now, honestly, I don't count myself among them, but it really does seem like a good chunk of men and women just want a stable, healthy, monogamous relationship, and everything about hookups and anonymous sex and going into realms of open relationships, polyamory, all of these derivatives that are relatively new, at least in terms of being culturally acceptable, are still a minority at this point. But the problem is, I believe, that because it's gotten a little bit tougher for people to find romance, that they jump into declaring someone to be their boyfriend or girlfriend because you hooked up a few times and you haven't hated each other yet. Look, the reality of the situation is that you shouldn't rush this stuff. And specifically, the piece of advice I want to give in this video is that until you are in a relationship, you are single. So I don't care if you've been on a couple dates with someone. I don't care if you're clicking. I don't care if you like each other, to be honest. Until you have a thorough understanding of that other person, you need to continue to behave as an unattached adult. And that means that you don't give up your hobbies, you don't ditch your friends, and you continue to put yourself out there. And if someone else comes along, give it a whirl. I think that most relationships would be way better off if people took 5, 6, 7 months before declaring themselves to be monogamous. I think that people are a little too scared of losing things, especially men nowadays who are having a harder time meeting women, that as soon as a girl smiles back, gives a phone number, and goes out on a date, the guy puts everything else on hold because, well, who knows when I'm going to meet another girl that actually wants to talk to me. It took me, nowadays potentially till he's 20, 22, 25 years old before he has anything resembling a relationship. Pump the fucking brakes, man. Ease up. Give it some time, because you, in knowing someone for 2 months, don't know jack shit about them. Okay? I have friends who I now consider to be some of my best friends. I didn't even know their ages until I knew them for months. Now, granted, that's usually something you're going to ask right off the bat in a romantic setting, but the reason why it was able to work is because those kind of details don't matter very much. You know, you can quiz someone about where they grew up and how many siblings they have and their job and treat it like an interview, but that isn't going to accomplish very much. No, you need to spend a significant portion of time just soaking in their presence, if that makes any sense, and come to a better understanding of your two ability together to mesh. And guess what? In the first couple months, everybody's putting on their game face. All right? So you're not going to find out someone's flaws on date number 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's going to be a few months down the road when you suddenly find out that your best friend, yeah, the girl you're seeing actually hates his guts. Or you're going to find out that the girl actually hates drinking and would rather you stop. Or thinks that it's a waste of time for you to play video games and demands you quit. The ultimatums don't come up until she thinks you're locked in. And that's why it's in your best interest to not get locked in until you are as confident as you can possibly be that this is a good thing. Now, look, I'm not naive here, nor am I stubborn. I really do think that a good, healthy relationship does take some compromise, but unfortunately, too many men are afraid of being left alone and sexless that they dive in when the girl says, "Is this going to be serious?" He goes, "Oh, of course it is. I don't want you to walk away." And within a couple weeks, she thinks she's your girlfriend, and she's going to start making those demands because he has signed the contract. Not literally, but to her, you signed the damn contract. No. That girl is going to like you the most when she knows that you're somewhat unattached. That doesn't mean you treat her like garbage. Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that you... I personally would advocate against lying in that sort of situation. But I think if you want things to be better, take it slow. And if she puts pressure on you, and look, this channel's being directed at men, but I think any women who watch this, you can flip the genders and I think apply this advice just as well. If that person starts to apply pressure on you and go, "Hey, either we're monogamous and I'm your girlfriend, or I'm walking out," well, tell her goodbye and good luck. Because if someone within a couple months of knowing you is going to put their foot down and make that sort of dare, they're going to do it every single time. It's a power play that they're going to make at every opportunity. You got to say no to that. That, to be very frank, as someone who's dealt with it before, it's a very poor form of bullying. It's not very effective, but if you're young, if you're naive, or you're desperate, you can succumb to that sort of pressure. Slow down. Someone who wants to rush you is an ass. Now, let's take the reverse of that. Let's say that you are wanting to move things along. Well, the other person's uncomfortable with it. Before you just jump in and start saying, "Well, we need to know where this is going, so if you're not down right now, then I'm going to go." Take a moment, take a deep breath, and check yourself, because you are better off being single with a good prospect than starting something too soon and then eventually just starting to resent the other person. So, guys, this video is a bit faster than the last one. I didn't want to go on as much of a rant, but hopefully this is just something that can pop into your mind the next time you're about to go down something serious that you just aren't ready for or don't want to do. Do not let people leverage that sort of thing with you. And well, good luck. Hey, this is Z with Six Pack Productions again. Thank you very much for watching. Share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Please leave feedback as I try to grow the channel and see what direction it is, both with content and with my presentation. I appreciate it sincerely. And have a good night, everybody. Take care.